Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make Cajun shrimp pasta. Hey Sugar Spun bakers, Sam here, and today I am so excited to be sharing another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. My Cajun shrimp pasta is so satisfying, so delicious. It makes a great Lenten dinner. We have been enjoying this almost every Friday of Lent. I think you are going to absolutely love it, so let's go ahead and get started. Now the first thing we want to get started is our pasta. Generously salt a large pot of water, bring it to a full boil, and then we can add our pasta. Today I will be using linguine. Fettuccine is also a great choice, even spaghetti, but really any pasta will work. You'll need 8 ounces. Cook the pasta according to package instructions. For me, this is typically about 10 to 12 minutes. And while the pasta's cooking, I like to get started with my shrimp. Now this is a Cajun shrimp, and I prefer to make my own Cajun seasoning rather than buy it already made. Just makes the flavor all that much better, and we have a lot of control over the heat. Just grab a small mixing dish, and in this we will combine 1½ teaspoons of smoked paprika, 3/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, a ½ teaspoon of dried basil leaves, 3/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, a ½ teaspoon each of onion powder and garlic powder. And now for the heat. I am going to be feeding this dish to my young children, so I don't like mine to be too spicy. We're just using an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, but if you like a little bit more heat, double this or even add more. You can always taste test once the sauce is done. We'll also add a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper and a ½ teaspoon of salt. This is just table salt. Now just whisk all of these ingredients together. And before we go any further, I'm going to measure out a teaspoon of these spices. Mix it a little bit better. I'm going to measure out a teaspoon, and I'm going to reserve this for later. So I'll hold on to that for later. And then we'll be tossing our shrimp in these spices. The easiest way for me to do this is to use just like a large plastic. This is a gallon-sized bag. I have a pound of extra large shrimp here. They have been peeled. Mine have the tails on, but you can do this tails on or tails off, whichever you prefer. They just look a little better with the tails on. These shrimp are thawed, they've been peeled, and did I mention they're extra large? We are going to add them to our bag. Oh, and I also patted them dry before adding them to the bag. Now we will add the rest of our spices. Sprinkle it over top. And I'm going to seal this and then just work the shrimp around, toss them a bit until all of the shrimp are covered with these spices. All right, now we're going to head over to the stovetop, or I will bring mine to me. Perfect. And you'll need to grab a large skillet. This is the size that I like to use, and as you can see, I still haven't gotten that barkeeper's friend so many of you have told me about, so my pot still looks a little dirty, but I promise it's clean. It's in the mail. Now, I like to cook my shrimp in olive oil. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons of oil to the pan, and we are going to heat our skillet on medium-high heat. So let your oil get nice and hot. Grab yourself a plate so you have a place to set your shrimp. Grab yourself some tongs. Get your shrimp ready to go. If all of your shrimp don't fit in the pan at once, just cook them in batches. All right, my pan seems to be nice and hot, so let me add the shrimp in an even layer. You should hear a nice sizzle when you add the shrimp. That's a good sign that your pan is hot enough. And I don't like to overcrowd the shrimp because I don't want to end up steaming them. I want to get a nice sear on them just because it adds so much great flavor. Shrimp cook really fast, so keep an eye on them. Once your first side has been cooked, we're going to flip them, sear them on both sides, and then we will remove them to a plate. Then we'll cook our next batch. I'm gonna add just a little bit more oil, swirl my pan a bit to distribute it. Now, as I said, shrimp cook pretty quickly, but it is important that they're cooked all the way through. So it's a hard balance, right, between making sure they're cooked enough and making sure they're not overdone. So one thing that I look for when we take some of my shrimp that are finished is I will just look at the ridge near the base of the tail. That shouldn't be translucent any longer. I want it to be opaque. That's how I know that they're finished cooking. Whew, okay, we're getting steamy, so I am going to go ahead and add my butter. This is 2 tablespoons of butter. Just going to slide this around. And I'm also going to reduce my heat to medium. And now we can add our onion. I will be using about a cup of diced yellow onion for today's recipe. You could use sweet onion instead if you prefer. This is about 1 medium-sized onion that you'd get from a grocery store. And as I am stirring this, I'm scraping the bottom of the pan a bit because I want to get those brown bits at the bottom worked into the sauce that we'll be making. You have a lot of good Cajun seasoning in there. I don't want to waste it. Okay, my onion's looking pretty good. It is starting to be softer. It's turning a bit translucent. So if I can find it, I will add my garlic. I have 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. I'm just gonna drop this right in here. And I'm going to cook the garlic until it's fragrant. This takes about 30 seconds. With garlic, you want to be careful that you don't overdo it, because if you burn your garlic, it adds such a bitter, not great taste to the dish. So that's why we cook it so briefly. And that's also why we don't add it in with the onions, because then it would just be cooking for too long. All right, let's grab our flour. I am using a tablespoon of flour today, sprinkling this over my onion and garlic. And this flour is just going to thicken the sauce a little bit. I want this sauce to have a nice Cajun flavor, so remember that teaspoon that we saved from earlier. We'll also add this and just stir this together and cook until that flour is completely absorbed. You don't want to see any white bits remaining. Okay, now our chicken broth comes into play. I'm going to slowly drizzle this in while stirring. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm also going to be deglazing the pan. So any of those bits that did not come up when I added the onion, we should be able to work them up now. And we're just going to cook this until the broth has reduced some and the sauce is thickened. I think you can take a look at this texture here. You can see we've got a thicker sauce. This is just going to give our Cajun shrimp a better consistency, and it's going to coat the noodles really well. This is looking pretty good, so I'm going to add my tomatoes. We'll be adding, this is a, 14.5-ounce can of fire roasted diced tomatoes, and I did drain these before adding them to the pan. Just going to stir these in. Look at that tomato stem they left in there. I don't want to eat that. Okay, now right after adding the tomatoes and stirring them in, I like to add my cream. This is a creamy Cajun shrimp pasta. This is 3/4 cup of cream. I'm going to slowly drizzle this in while stirring. And about this time, your pasta should be finished cooking. If yours finishes early and your sauce isn't ready, just try to keep it warm. A lot of people don't like this, but to keep the pasta from sticking together, you can toss it with like a teaspoon or a half teaspoon of olive oil. It's just going to keep it from clumping together if that's something you struggle with. I'll add my pasta noodles, my cooked drained pasta noodles to the pan, and I'm also going to add some Parmesan cheese. This is a 1/2 cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I do recommend freshly grated because it doesn't have additives, which the additives can keep it from melting smoothly, so grate your own. We're going to toss everything together, get these noodles nicely coated, get that cheese nicely melted. My heat's still on medium. I think I'm going to reduce it to medium-low at this point. All right, now let's grab our shrimp and we will slide these right into the pan. Oh yeah. And I'm just going to toss everything together, though it looks really pretty when you serve it with the shrimp just sitting on top because they're such a beautiful golden color after having been seared. And the shrimp haven't been sitting very long, but we want to make sure that they are warmed through before we serve this dish. It's only going to take a minute for them to be nice and hot again. And now we can go ahead and serve this dish. I like to serve mine with a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top, sometimes even a little bit of shredded basil. That adds a nice touch as well. That is how easy it is to make my Cajun shrimp pasta. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's recipe, and if you try this one out, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I always really do love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right, there are a few things as awkward as eating spaghetti on camera, but I'm gonna do it. This is delicious. And now I have my dinner for tonight. First I wanna plug it in. Oh my goodness, this is bad. Bad for my camera. Can someone grab like a book? Just, you can't be like this. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna keep deglazing. Like what you're doing. Come into camera. We're saving the lens. And the shrimp haven't been sitting very long, but we want to make sure that they are